The Arizona R&D Tax Credit adopts the federal definition of research and development and qualifying research expenses, except qualified research expenditures may include only research conducted in Arizona. The R&D project must follow the federal guidelines for being technology-oriented, and while not mandatory, Arizona does expect to see a substantial amount of costs related to experimentation. Since much of the work done on a federal return applies to the Arizona return, it makes sense to claim both credits. Normal commercial outsourced contract research expenses are subject to a 65% limit. Research expenses incurred through a university are subject to a 75% limit. The credit may be claimed by both C corporations and flow-through entities. Current year claims are submitted with the current year return. Amended claims are submitted in accordance with standard amending rules. The documentation requirements for the Arizona credit follow the same guidelines as the federal return. The taxpayer must be able to put their hands on receipts, key documents, and financial statements if and when required to support expenses claimed. Corporations and flow-through entities must use Form 308, while individuals must use Form 308-I to claim the Arizona research credit. Both forms allow for one method of calculation, being the federal regular credit method, as the alternative simplified credit method is not available for the Arizona credit. The allowable current year credit is a percentage of the excess of the Arizona QREs for the taxable year over the base amount and the Arizona basic research payments. For 2011 to 2017, the R&D tax credit is equal to 24% of the first $2.5 million in qualifying research expenses, plus 15% of the qualifying research expenses in excess of $2.5 million. For tax years 2018 and after, the credit rates will be 20% of the first $2.5 million in QREs, plus 11% of the qualifying expenses in excess of $2.5 million. Any unused credit can be carried forward for 15 years. Beginning in 2010, an eligible business may be able to claim a partial refund of its current year excess credit amount. A qualified business that employs less than 150 full-time employees can apply to the Arizona Commerce Authority for a partial refund of up to 75% of the excess credit amount. An additional credit of 10% is allowed for companies conducting R&D through Arizona universities. Up to $5 million in refund credits is allowed in any calendar year. Therefore, refunds are approved on a first-come, first-served basis. A business with a calendar year may file on or after the first business day following the close of the previous calendar year. A fiscal year taxpayer may file on or after the first business day after the end of the fiscal year. For example, a taxpayer with a June 30, 2014 fiscal year end could apply for a partial refund of R&D credits as early as July 2, 2014, if the cap is not expired. If the cap has been reached, the fiscal year end taxpayer may file an application on or after the first business day of 2015, only if the taxpayer has not filed its tax return with revenue for the tax year in which the R&D credit was generated. In summary, while the same markup for a federal return can be used for an Arizona return, only expenses incurred in Arizona can be used in the state claim. Arizona taxpayers are not required to file a federal R&D claim with the IRS to file one with the state. Arizona uses only one calculation method to claim credits, the federal regular credit method.